Greetings, Wargamers. We're your hosts, Trevor,
Jay,
Josh, and this is Chain Attack.
Chain Attack is sponsored by Discount Games Incorporated. Discount Games Incorporated specializes in customer service, low prices, and prompt shipping. You can find our web store at www.discountgamesinc.com.
Welcome to Chain Attack. I'm your host, Trevor, and I am almost finished with Arcane.
I'm Jay, and I am finished with Arcane. With season 1 of Arcane, that's all I'm doing.
I'm Josh, and I feel like I'm purposely being shamed here, but I did start a new series. While I am watching Arcane on my own, I got a thumbs up from my wife for the first episode of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Have you guys seen this one yet?
I have not. I don't think I've even heard of it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Well, maybe that's where I got it, right? The pitch, the main character is a code monkey, right? And she has like a freak accident in an MRI machine, and she can now hear the innermost thoughts of people as musical performances. So
What?
So it's kind of like, it honestly reminds me a lot of like the television show Glee, because it's like, you know, one of the first scenes after she gets out of the MRI is like the entire neighborhood that she's in, and I think it's set in San Francisco. That's the one that's got the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, like this entire neighborhood sings like "Help" by the Beatles, right?
Okay.
Anyway, so it's that kind of stuff, and so like my wife's watching it, she's like, "This is my kind of show." If they keep it clean, and I'm like, well, okay, no promises, because I don't know. So that's my other new show.
So I guess I'm curious of your guys' opinion on this, but I would think that the ability to read minds would be like just
hell
about
on earth.
the worst superpower you could ever get.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what would be worse than that?
Worse than that? I mean, Jubilee and her little sparkly things, I guess.
Well, there's that one X-Men that like he can, because his power, it's like his power is like to always be forgotten. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
No, I guess not.
That's a real X-Men. There's an X-Men who like his whole power is nobody can ever remember him, and so because of that,
he shows up for work in the morning, and Wolverine's like, you know, attacks him because he's trespassing again.
Who the H are you kind of thing, right? Yeah. I'll have to find it. I'll find it and post. Fascinating. But yes, I agree, Jay. Telepathy of any form is bull. Is hell. That would be the word.
All right. Well, I guess some news from Discount Games Inc. You can check out our Black Friday sales. Just search for Black Friday. We have quite a few things that we're either increasing the price, or if it's a Games Workshop item, doing an extra rebate on. So check that out. Lots of good specials that you'll have available. One other bit of announcement that is something that I had worked on. I finally taught myself the very complex task of converting a MP3 to an MP4 and putting a logo as the video. So that the files can be posted up into YouTube, and so now you can there's the Chain Attack channel that has Chain Attack, or the Discount Games channel has Chain Attack the Meta and Recalibration Matrix. So
we need to update some of the images on the Chain Attack.
Yeah, holy cow! YouTube. I went to the
there's still a picture
YouTube,
of Scott,
and there's a picture of Scott and a picture of Trevor with the babiest of faces. Like, oh, this is why he grew his beard, because he has such a baby face. It was pretty amusing.
Yeah, that picture's.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. Well, our main topic for today is going to be holiday gaming. Trevor, go ahead and lead us off. I think that you had the bulk of the things that we were thinking about.
meaning he has an actual.
Oh, so I have we're recording this 2 days before Thanksgiving on a Tuesday, and I have today and tomorrow off, and I have Friday off from work. So I sort of planned out what I needed to do, and my wife works for a school district, so she got the same time off that all my kids have off, which is the entire week. So I said, well, and always Thanksgiving is sort of a gaming time for me. It always has been, and that's never really changed. So I wanted to talk about what games you guys were interested in playing this year, and maybe what ones you're going to try to get to the table. I was going to talk about the ones that I'm getting to the table. So I know we've talked about it in the past, but the first game that I'm going to, well, actually, let's back up. I played it with the first game I played of this vacation was last night. After I played D&D with my kids, and it's the first time I've ever done it. And I was worried about how they were going to kind of latch onto it. They're very video gamey, board gamey. They've done all that. But the idea of taking something from the screen to the mind, to me, I was just worried about how they were going to latch on to it. So we set up, and the adventure that I'm running for them is the one that pretty much everywhere recommended, which is the Lost Mines of Phandelver, which is from the basic box set, basically introduces you to the game. But that apparently that adventure is really good, and from what I've read, it seems really good. And from what we played last night, it seemed. And some of you may know, or for those of you who don't know, my oldest son has autism, and so he sometimes has a difficult time communicating what he wants, using the correct words. He'll transpose the wrong words for things, and he also gets pretty emotionally invested in these sorts of things. In the past, when I've tried to get into board games, if his character died, if he got eliminated board game, or something bad happened, it would be usually an emotional breakdown. He's gotten older. He's 13 now, so it's not nearly. I'm sorry, he's 14 now. It's not nearly as big of a problem for him as it was in the past, but I was still concerned about it. But we sat down, and I've been kind of putting this off. I read the adventure, well, honestly, years ago at this point, probably 2 years ago.
Wait, what adventure is it? Did you say?
The Mines of Phandelver.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or the Lost Mines of Phandelver. It's like I said, it comes in the.
I ran the first little bit of this adventure for my daughter, who is now much more D&D than I have ever managed to be.
Right, but it comes in that box set.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the funny thing is my two boys, like my boy who's 10, I handed him his character sheet. Well, he created this character 2 years ago when he was 8, and his handwriting has clearly changed over the last 2 years when he went from first grade to third grade.
Okay.
And so I'm handing him this sheet that looks like a young child has scribbled on it with essentially a crayon. It's his own writing, but it's from years ago. Anyway,
funny.
So it's just kind of weird that they're kind of looking at these characters that they don't really remember, but that they themselves created. And my youngest has this infatuation with calling her Bob. So we'll get to the next game we're going to play, which is called Clank Legacy. His character in Clank Legacy is not Bob. His character,
of course it is.
Yeah, his character in D&D is called Bobasaur because it's a
Dragonborn. Oh, I love it. Bobasaur's an incredible name. Yeah,
it actually works quite well.
It's good stuff.
He calls everything Bob. Like if he plays anything online, if you're playing somebody out there and their name is Bob, you might be playing with him. Just saying. Anyway, so we started playing, and I hadn't read the adventure for 2 years, so I'm trying to skim ahead while I'm running the adventure, which is a horrible thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually turned out really well. And my in that adventure, small spoiler alert, the first thing you run into 4 goblins. And
your family has adopted them all. Just kidding.
No, you clearly don't. I'm just going to reoccur a theme from a previous episode. You clearly don't know my wife. There's no way that these goblins. But I started describing the damage they were doing to the goblins, and it clearly upset my son his Dragonborn is a wizard, so he was casting acid splash, and I was describing how the acid was burning the goblin's skin, and my daughter's just she's giving me that look like she wasn't sure she wanted to take part in all of this murder hoboing. But anyway, it was a blast. My kids had a lot of fun, and the kid who got the most involved in it was my oldest son.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he really walked away from it pretty excited. And the funny thing is when I kicked them out of the basement to record this episode, I said, "Boys, come upstairs." And the first thing out of their mouth when they saw me was, "Is it D&D?"
Nice.
And I said, "No, it's time for more to podcast." Crushed.
You're like, it's tangentially related, kids.
So what things are you guys planning on doing over
Well, nothing now. I'm depressed that I'm a terrible father. And, I mean, my one daughter who literally is DMing her own games these days, she will be there, but there's no way I'll pull it off.
Does she have problems getting other kids her age?
No, she's literally like, she's running a group, she's playing in a second group, like she has found the college nerds. Like, it's funny because
she's off at college.
Yeah, this last last weekend, there's a little team that would be Han's age. I mean, that Han would be their age. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That when he was in the hospital, they did a fundraiser for him, and then since he's passed, they've done a fundraiser every year since he died, and they take the proceeds and they give them to Primary Children's Hospital, and part of what they fundraise is for cash, but also board games, right? Like the first year they did it after he had passed, the opposing team found out what they were doing, and when they came out to like shake hands after so this is like a bunch of little 11-year-olds, right? They came out to, good game, shake hands or whatever. Each of the other team members had a board game in their hand. Now, bear in mind, I have to swallow my pride a lot because most of them are mass market board games, right?
Right.
But whatever, they still get donated to these kids at Primary Children's and probably brighten at least one kid's day or something like that. So the reason I'm telling you this is this last Saturday, they were delivering their fundraiser funds and games that they raised this year and had invited us to go with them as a family. And so we came down and it was really sweet. And then on the way back, they stopped in Logan to watch a Utah State University football game, right? Because this is a little football team. And it was just funny because my D&D daughter, right? She just keeps looking at me and she's like, "I just don't get this, Dad." She's like, "Do you get this?" Like, meaning sports in general, right? And like, team spirit and all that kind of, because, and I'm like, you know what? Honestly, I understand why you're asking me that. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I have terrible school spirit. Like you don't want any of that from me. But at one point in time, I finally looked at her and I'm like, look, this is that meme where the guy is holding the other person's lips and says, let people enjoy things, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to understand, like, this is for everybody in this stadium, or most people in this stadium, this is their fanboyism, right? Like, this is the thing that they find joy in, right? And it kind of like opened her eyes a little bit, and she made this comment like, and I'm like, oh gosh, you are so my daughter. She made this comment about like, why is this so much more socially acceptable? And I was like,
that's the part that gets me. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, step back just a minute. And I said, Bug, what's one of the highest grossing films in human history, right? It's nerd stuff. It's Marvel, right? Like, I'm like, I thought the same way you thought, but we're both wrong. Like, we've been wrong. Like, and it I don't know, it just kind of opened her eyes a little bit. And I said, and you have no idea, like, you are in so much richer of a world as a nerd than I was, and especially than like your grandfather was, because my dad's a giant nerd, right?
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm not willing to believe this sort of lie that we tell ourselves anymore, that it's not socially acceptable. You know what I mean? It's just that's just not true anymore. Like, and it's discussed in different ways and by different people than you ever would have expected before, right? So, geez, did you get me off on a deep enough tangent there, or what? Am I literally doing old man waves hand at clouds or shakes fist at clouds right now? That's what I'm doing, isn't it?
Well, one of the things that I asked was whether or not she could get her peers to participate, is because my daughter, the game that she's currently infatuated with is called Genshin Impact.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of this
game. Didn't you play that briefly, Jay?
I installed it.
Okay. It's an MMO, right? Like,
it is. It's a Chinese-based MMO
Yeah.
that is very anime-ish. In fact, some of the voice acting they have from it are voices that you would recognize from. Well, one of the voices I swear has got to be this exact same voice from Sword Art Online.
Okay.
There's voices in there that I've heard in other anime. So they're clearly English-speaking actors who are doing the voiceovers for the English version of this game, do English voiceovers for other anime-based things. But anyway, this game is cross-platform in that you can play it on the computer, or I believe it's on Xbox, PlayStation,
iPad as well.
iPad. Yeah, it's on a bunch of things, and they're all cross-platform. You play together, regardless of where you're playing from. And so my daughter's been playing it, and she's been playing it all by herself for quite a while. Well, she's been trying to get. There's two boys in the neighborhood who are friends of hers who she's tried to get to play with her. And basically, they find every excuse under the sun as to why they can't play. And the original excuse was, well, we don't have anything to play it on because the one boy only has a Switch at home, and it wasn't released on a Switch at the time. It might be now, but it wasn't at the time. And so she went through and asked me if she could install Genshin Impact on two of the computers we have in the basement, her own computer and my wife's computer, so these boys could come play with her all in the same room, and she would play on the PlayStation. And I said, yeah, sure. So they did that one day. She hounds them every week to do this.
Okay.
And they've only done it once. And I know she's incredibly frustrated, but she feels like she's, same sort of the feeling that we get when, try to get someone together to play a 4-hour board game. Is she's like, she wants, these two friends of hers to come play Genshin Impact with her for 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday or what. And they're just like, eh.
Do you want me to send her my spreadsheet process for, sending out a survey with the quiz, requiring,
it's funny, but I think my children are so not tech savvy, and it drives me.
I'm glad I'm not the only father that has failed.
They come to me. They don't learn how to do it on their own.
Yeah, that is the same problem, I think.
So, are you guys telling me that you guys really don't have any games planned?
Well, not planned. Like I will give you the list that basically reads like a giant madman's wish list, but we are actually going out of town for the holiday. We have an Airbnb down where my other daughter's going to school right now, so we're gonna go down there and spend basically from Wednesday night through Sunday there. And yeah, I have a list, and at one point in time, I'm going to describe him as my likely next son-in-law. I think he will be there with us for some amount of time, and even on Thanksgiving Day, his parents are going to come, meet us and spend some time with us. And so I'm like curating games right now. Like, should I pack that? Should I pack that? That's basically that's basically as far as my plans go, right?
You're like me. You're going to pack way too much, and then none of it's going to get played.
100%. Like,
I always overpack board games during Thanksgiving week, and I take them all, and I'm like, we could play any of these, and they're like, how about we play Scrabble? And I'm like,
yes, that is what is going to happen. So I can read to you the list, that I currently have assembled that is nothing but ill-advised. Like, for example, I think here's the real fun game that we should play. What are the odds? I give you a game, and you give me the over-under odds that it will get played.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
In no particular order. Now, first of all, also, I think I'm going to start a new holiday tradition of we're going to be playing some games that I bought to give myself for Christmas. We're going to open them now. Because you know what? I shouldn't have to wait.
You're old enough that you don't need to follow rules.
Yes, right?
Okay, so here's the rules for this game that we're going to play.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I'm going to set the first over-under, and then Trevor will pick either over or under, and then Trevor and I will alternate back and forth setting the over-under.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. I feel like I should be held accountable for this in a week, but no promises that would actually happen. Okay, so first game, yes, it's going to be part of the new you open Christmas presents on Thanksgiving tradition. Micro Macro Crime City, which was a Spiel des Jahres winner this year. It's basically Where's Waldo meets, I don't know, a detective game? Is that a fair way to
I
describe
believe
this,
so.
Jay?
Yeah, I believe
This
so.
sort of looks like Scotland Yard.
Sure.
Does it have any
sure.
similarities to Scotland
Well,
Yard?
it's co-op. Like, so you as a team, you're getting these little cards that say like, "Hey, we need you to find this person," or like, look for evidence of this crime happening, or whatever, right? So
So the map that has a bunch of things on it going on do you always play on the same map?
I think there's multiple maps. I
Okay.
think, and there's like little magnifying glasses too. I mean,
Mhm.
the production on it is like really cool looking, frankly. But yeah. So that's the
I'm
one that
gonna
I'm starting with.
I'm going to set the over under at 15.
Brutal. This game's brutal.
I actually think this one's going to get played. I'm going to take the over.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next. I'm so excited to pack this one. Clash of Cultures Monumental Edition.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to give the over under at 2%, and if Jay picks the over, he's a dummy.
I mean, this would be one where you would pick the under, and the odds that you're getting are like you're betting $1,000 to win 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Before Jay picks, I feel that I need to give like full disclosure on a couple facts.
Okay. I'm listening.
Remember, Jed and I have played this game now on multiple occasions. He is convinced.
Hold on. Are there going to be any other people, family members, kids of his age group at this event?
Oh, well, no, actually, no.
Okay.
And I mean, here's the other thing. Like, are we saying over under on this getting played over the whole weekend or just Thanksgiving Day?
The whole weekend.
Okay.
Weekend, yeah.
Because I think your 2% is 100% accurate for Thanksgiving Day, but I just wanted to give that disclosure for
okay.
the whole week.
I will raise it to 5%.
Okay. All right. Jay.
I'll still go under.
Because he's a smart man.
Okay. Next up is topical Dune Imperium. So this is the worker placement / deck builder new Dune game.
And is your son playing this with you? Has he?
He has, and
Wait.
actually my 14-year-old has played it with me also, the Timothée Chalamet fan in the house.
I will have to note that Jed was playing it with me and his grandfather, Josh's father, and my wife when he saw a shiny and midway through the game said, "I want to go play that," and got up and walked away. Just
Brutal.
FYI.
Brutal.
As long as we're making full disclosures here.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with 4%.
Under. Way under. Is there a second option for going lower than that? I want big payback here.
Okay.
Is there a 0 option?
So you can parlay this and do the under on it and Clash of Cultures.
Oh yeah, I'll take both of them. I'll take that combined. Is there a trifecta I could take?
Okay, this is going to be even better. This one I think is even better than Clash of Cultures. Oath, Chronicles of Empire and Exile. Full disclosure, my 19-year-old has played this with me on multiple occasions. She will be present.
Doesn't seem to be your favorite game though.
No, I wouldn't describe it as that.
This
is definitely like I'm indulging my father to play this 100%.
Is your father going to be there?
No, I'm saying that is what she is internally saying.
I see.
This is an awful two-player game, isn't it?
It's not. I mean, look. It is impossible for me to speak ill of this game, Jay. Okay.
It's
not a good.
Okay, I think this is Trevor's turn.
Oh gosh. So this is your oldest daughter and her husband.
No, not my oldest daughter. My second oldest daughter and her not technically fiance yet.
I thought you were going. You're not going to where your oldest daughter is. I thought
no,
that's what you said.
They're still in Arizona. No, we're just going
that's
to
what
my second oldest.
Oh, okay. So
I wish.
Okay, so it's just your second oldest, and then everybody younger than that, and then the parents of this.
That but that's only for like a few hours that we have that full.
0.5%.
I think that's generous, but okay.
I mean, can I give it a 0%? There's no under there. You have to take the over.
You have to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going under 0.5%.
All right.
I mean, the payout is negative. I like you if you take the under.
Okay, so
I
am now going to give you. I've got. Okay, well, I've got 4 left. Sorry, I'm laughing at myself.
I'm sorry we're breaking your. This just seems so unlikely.
Are you kidding? It's just so entertaining to me to be reminded of how ridiculous I am.
Like, the thing that cracks me up about this is that, like, do you have like a bag of holding in your vehicle that you have so much space that you can pack these board games that are never ever going to get played?
All these kids have left.
Yes to both questions, Jay. I will have to send you guys the bag that I bought years ago that is actually like a drum kit bag that is an amazing. So I can fill it with Shattered Dreams, like just as a like, and that is what I do, right? Okay, so the next 4 I'm going to give you are ones that I want the over-under on them actually getting played with this mixed group, because these are ones that I'm packing that I'm thinking like.
Oh, you're packing these specifically for the.
Yeah, I think that this could happen, kind of thing, right? Okay. So
to give real,
I want to give one more ridiculous one before I start on the list of potentially reasonable.
Can I ask you another question before we get too far into this? How old is the other parent?
I think they're pretty. No, I think they're pretty close in age to my wife and I. Like, this is the boy that my daughter's dating is their oldest son, right? So they might even be, maybe they're a tiny bit younger than, but I think in our similar age, mid-40s.
And do you know where have you met them before? Where did they go to school?
I've met them. We met them at Utah State at this football game, just briefly.
Okay.
And I've seen, like, here's an interesting disclosure. Like, her brother is like a set designer, and so they have a picture of their whole family in Assassin's Creed cosplay at FanX.
Oh.
A few years ago, right? So I think that was dangerous because that gave me like this weird.
It gave you hope.
You have hope.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't have done. That was.
I feel it was right.
Yeah, it was. Okay, continue.
Okay, so my one last ridiculous one, just so you guys can see if you can go under 0.5%. Food chain magnate.
Oh, jeez. The house will not even put a bet on. I'm sorry.
0.1%.
So I broke the rule of the game. Fine. Okay. So the first one that I'm like.
So I feel like on these, you have 4, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we need to. I feel like you should tell us which 4 they are, and then we'll do the over-unders, because you're only going to, like, whichever is the most likely is going to push out the other one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. Because it's not like you're going to get all of it. Okay. That's fine. Here you go. I will list the. So, Not Alone, which is the 7-player game of hide and seek on an alien planet.
That sounds more physical than it really is. You're playing hide and seek with
cards, right?
Cards. Okay.
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, which is, I would describe as in the vein of a werewolf style game, right? But instead of trying to find werewolves, you're trying to identify a murderer and the tools that they used for their murder, etc. Right? So that's
okay.
Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Does this have sort of the similar vein to werewolf in that certain people open their eyes, close their eyes? There's a narrator.
You have people that are assigned to be the detectives. You have one person that is the murderer. You have one person that is their accomplice. Yeah, and those all have just slightly different powers, right?
Okay.
So yeah, it's very much in that vein.
Okay.
Quacks of Quedlinberg.
Okay.
I'm packing because I know my family will play it, but it is only a 4-player game, so that frankly may weigh against it.
Okay.
And then God's Love Dinosaur, which is a 5-player. I'm trying to decide how you describe God's Love Dinosaur. A 5-player.
It's a tile
placement game. Yeah.
It's a tile placement and combo game, I guess. You're trying to build together combos.
Those are my 4.
Okay, so I'm going to craft what I think the over. Okay, so I think that there is a 15% chance that any of these games get played.
Savage.
And I think that there is probably a 7% chance that it's deception murder in Hong Kong, and only because I think your daughters will probably push for it.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other one I think will happen is that Quacks of Quedlinberg will get played, and the couple that are showing up, the other parents, will not participate. I think that's the other most likely scenario. I don't think there's a chance that Not Alone or Gods Love Dinosaurs gets played at all.
Okay.
Wow. I was gonna go like 60% on Deception.
Okay.
You've played Deception, right, Jay?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I thought you had played it.
So I would have picked over on Trevor's, and he would pick under on mine. I probably would have said like 30% on Quacks of Quedlinberg.
Okay.
And 15 on Alone in the Dark, and probably 15 on Gods Love Dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think there's a strong chance that no game.
Yeah. Right.
Especially because you've told me that they watched a college football, and you're doing this on things.
Right.
Well,
So
I was talking
I
about for the whole weekend.
Oh, well, I thought we were talking about just the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no, for those 4, we were talking about on Thanksgiving Day with
okay.
the mixed crowd, right?
Oh,
Does that
then,
change your percentages heavily, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
reasonable then.
I do think it's interesting that both Jay and I think the Deception.
I probably agree with you, honest. And the reason why is I feel like it requires the lowest amount of effort for someone to be involved, and the fact that it will go up to you could do up to 12 players. No,
Yeah,
Deception does 12. Not Alone.
Everybody there. Yeah, you could put everybody there in the game regardless.
Yeah.
Whether they wanted to participate or not. The reason I lean heavily towards Deception is because it seems like the type of game that your older daughters and your youngest daughter leans toward.
Right.
This is the type of game that they really want to play. Not so much with Buck, but the other ones, this is the type of game they would want to play. So I just think that they'll push toward.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a totally amazing game. I'm going to play it every Thanksgiving from now on. But I want one final follow-up to the game, which is what game would the two of you pack? What one game that you think would have the highest odds for that mixed crowd?
Are we talking your family and this other? Like I just show up at the door with, or is this me and my kids and?
Oh, that's a good question. No, do it for my family. Do it for this particular situation.
Oh,
I want you to be the game sommelier for.
So, this is just off the cuff. You're sort of catching me off guard, but I would bring Captain Sonar.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I've had really good luck with it. It's something that non-gamers kind of immediately latch onto and understand the concept of without having to explain anything.
Yeah.
And then there's, the simplified rules that make it very easy to get everybody in pretty quickly. I generally, when I introduce people, I even got my father to play this, which is, that's a big stretch.
Whoa, okay. Yeah.
But I normally play the first game. I play basically synchronous or asynchronous, where you take one turn at a time.
Oh, so you're not doing live?
Yeah, the introductory rules basically you take one turn. Okay, you talk back and forth. Everyone hears the stuff. You do one movement each. Okay, and then you take the next move, and everyone does one movement each, and they can do all the same things they can do in the normal game. But it's not high pace. It's something that's very easy to introduce to people. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of turn them a little bit loose afterwards, and that has always been a pretty big success for me. But I don't know.
And it does up to 8, right?
Yeah, it'll do 8 people. No, it does 10. It'll do 10.
Okay.
Pretty sure it'll do captain, navigator, engineer. I don't remember all the positions, but I'm pretty sure it does 5 per side.
5%.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the captain basically does.
Look good. Yeah.
Command to his.
All right, Jay, let's hear yours.
The main one that had popped into my head was honestly really close to one that you're already taking. With Deception, but I had thought of something like the Resistance Avalon for just like a kind of quick social game. So
yeah, and that probably is the smart. You gotta keep it in the social arena.
Yeah,
some of the ones I've always been successful with are ones that are really simple to explain and visually are interesting. The other one I've always
Yeah,
had success with, and it's not a great example here, but Labyrinth. It's only a 4-player game, but I can explain the concept behind it in just a couple of seconds.
Oh man, Trevor, I just remembered one that is in my Christmas pile that I should probably break tradition for, which is Canvas.
Oh yeah.
Problem is it only does up to 5, right?
Yes. It only does 5. But I think
Well, you have a big drum bag. Just throw it in.
Canvas is way for it's
That's true, yeah. It'll go right in the bag of holding. No problem. All right. Great recommendations, team. Thanks for the game. Jay, how about your Turkey Day plans?
Okay, so I guess this is a tale of making plans and then having them butt up against the cold, hard facts of reality.
Oh, so just like my game that we just played.
Yes. So we were going to go to a friend's house for Thanksgiving, but I have a little bit of a head cold.
Oh,
and
no.
So we're likely just going to nix that. And I'm on the mend. I'm probably not contagious at this point, but it's just not worth being that guy who gets everyone sick.
Right.
So we're probably just going to order some take and bake pizzas on Wednesday and then eat them on Thanksgiving, and that'll be fine. Then the other part was we had planned to do a trip to Vegas on Saturday through Wednesday, and I need to talk to Brian about it, but there's a decent chance that that's not going to happen because our cat, who has been losing weight, she hasn't taken a sudden turn. It's just she just seems really frail right now, and Brian's a little concerned about leaving her. And we'll see what happens with that, I guess. So,
what do you normally just leave your cats to run kind of amok in the house when you're gone? Do you have someone watching them?
Previously, when before Lucy got sick, we would just leave out some food and water, and they would run amok, and it would be fine.
Right.
Now Lucy is basically to the point where she can't eat dry food anymore, and you obviously can't leave out wet food for days on end.
Oh yeah.
And so I have either friends or an employee that will come and feed them once a day and check up on them, etc. So, but we don't have anyone who's coming in and staying at the house, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. If I did go to Vegas, the plan was that I would get a little bit more of Breath of the Wild played and do some more reading.
What are you currently reading?
I'm getting close to finishing up Dune, which leads me to have you made your final decision yet, Josh, on what I'm going to be reading after Dune?
Oh, I forgot that the due date was going to be sneaking up on me. What did I suggest? Freak, I had one in mind. Oh, I really do think you should do Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, I think that was who you were considering before, or what you were considering.
I'm half tempted to to go against the spirit of the game and recommend a book that I haven't read yet because I want you to read it. But I'm pretty sure that goes
the ultimate revenge of me.
It would be 2034 or whatever, 2022, that stupid book. Because the one that I really want to read next is called "This Is How You Lose the Time War."
The Time War, yeah.
Which is just that one even
fantastic title.
Yeah, the title has me sold. I don't know what it is.
Just reading the title is why I put it on my. I think it's a shorter novel too, because it was the 2020 Hugo Award winner of Best Novella.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So it's probably not that long.
You're selling me some more.
I've told you that one of the things my family will be doing this. We started a few years ago the Jólabókaflóð flood tradition, which is a Icelandic tradition of everyone gives. You draw names and you give the person you drew a book, and then that's what you read on Christmas Eve, right? And we've really loved doing that as a family. So basically whoever's name I get, unless it's maybe the 8-year-old, I almost guaranteed this is the book they're gonna get.
So the How to Lose a Time War is the alternate one you were considering?
Yes, yeah, that's one I haven't read yet.
Yeah.
That I would be like.
Well, is the other one? The other one's the first in a series. Is that correct?
There are 2 books. Children of Time is the first one, and then Children of Ruin is the. So I don't know if you consider it a series. Children of Ruin is
A duology.
Yeah, that's the right term, because I don't think there's another one coming. Even though I don't know, I would be amazed to see what he with another version, right? Or another book. But so I'll put it to you that way.
So
you should choose
what
one of those 2 books.
Here's what I will do, Josh. I should be able to get through How to Lose a Time War faster than the duology, so I'll read that first, and then I will proceed on to the other one.
Yes, delicious.
Well, we're close to time. Was there any things wrapping up that you guys had to go over?
Oh, I didn't do stuff. I got a lot.
Okay, speed round, Trevor. Let's do it.
So today I have a friend coming over, going to continue our game of Clank Legacy, where Not Bob will once again try to delve down into the tombs and ruins of the world and grab gold and bring it back. We actually have a lot of running jokes in that game. If you enjoy Clank even a little bit, it is one of the best legacy games out there. It's quick play. It's very humorous. The fun we've had is hard to sum in just a few words, but it's great. Play some Clank Legacy. We're planning on playing multiple games of D&D over the week with my kids. I have a D&D game with my high school D&D group on Friday, and the Blood Money is the newest expansion for. Oh shoot! I just forgot what it's called. What's the Wild West game that's like Zaya?
Oh, that's like Saya. For pity's sake.
Western Legends.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to play a game of Western Legends this week with the new expansion Blood, which I think is going to be fantastic because I went all in on the Blood Money Kickstarter, which gave me so normally a lot of the tokens you use in the game are very Western themed. They're like some of them are poker chips, et cetera, and they're all they're made of cardboard. They're just normal board game things. Well, highest level of the Blood Money backer on Kickstarter gave you all kinds of things like this really luxurious deck of cards that goes in it and takes over for the normal deck of cards, and it replaces all of the cardboard poker chips with clay ones. I have all of the really nice stuff now, and I bought the neoprene mat last time that they tried to sell me something, and I was like, no, yes, I'll buy everything.
I love it.
So anyway, I have basically everything now, and that game's a lot of fun. So we're going to play a game of that this week. And then my wife recognized, bless her heart, she recognized that I've had a board game a couple of years now, actually, but it's been for quite a while, and I haven't played it. And part of the reason why I haven't played it is because I just haven't had time to read rules, or I haven't taken the time to read rules. And so she's reading the rules for me, and she's gonna try to teach it to me and the kid.
Okay.
So, and it's a remake of a game that was made a long time ago, but I bought it for a reason that was somewhat misguided.
Okay.
So it's Siege of the Citadel, the Mutant Chronicles Siege of the Citadel board game. It's the second printing of it. It just was shipped out last year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I never played the original. The second one sold me because it said it was a co-op game, 1 to 5 players. And we have, it's my wife and I and 3 kids. So anything that's co-op and 5 players, I'm like, yeah, I'll pay whatever to try to get a game that my kids will play with me.
Right.
Well, come to find out, it's co-op, but co-op is only, I think, for 4 players, and the 5th player is, and you can play with
it's 1 against many.
Yes, it's 1 against 4 normally, or you can play 4 against an AI deck, I believe. I've never read my wife, so we'll see. But I don't know that's the one that we may not.
All right. Well, everyone, let us know your holiday gaming plans, what you think are great games for holiday gaming, and thank you for listening.